Dan. I want to welcome you to turn number 4 of the Cards of Cthulhu game. Before we get started with that, I want to show you something I received in the mail. If you remember from a couple updates ago, we offered a special online offer where you could order these mouse pads, and I ordered one of them and it arrived about a week ago. We feature one mouse pad for each of the 4 cult boards, and as you can see, it's a fine little mouse pad. I think they sell for about $6, and if you type in the promo code that we offered, I think they're 99 cents plus shipping, so it's an awesome deal for you guys. We don't get any of that money, it's just something we set up as a thank you for everyone who's helped us support our campaign. Now we're going to get started. Here we are at the start of the turn. I'm going to draw 5 cards, 4 because that's what I normally do, plus 1 more because of the Cthulhu Gate. And here they come. Here is card number 1. It is a Byakhee minion. Card number 2 is a ritualist follower that I can maybe buy. Ooh, a minor horror. Another minion. And then finally the extra card because of the gate. And yet another minion. Okay, so now I start allocating them to their various areas. We have the minions come up here. There's now 5 of them. That's going to be a problem. Cthulhu minion goes over there, and this horror comes in. Horrors always come in sleeping. And finally for this ritualist, I'm going to go ahead and purchase him. He costs 1 point to buy, and every time I want to use his ability it will also cost me 1 experience point. So I take the chip, I spend it, I will then add him to my followers. The next thing I do after purchasing is check for awakened horrors. So I check all 4 cult boards, and over here on Yog-Sothoth we do have a sleeping horror. We have 2 minions, which is what it takes to wake him up. So he awakens, and the very first thing I do is check for sanity loss. He will attack me with a 2-point sanity loss because he has 2 dice. I can either throw off 2 experience chips, or have a follower go insane, or lose the game. I'm going to choose to have a follower go insane. He attacks the priest, which flips him upside down, so I can't use him anymore. Then I proceed on to my combat step. Well, here's something that's kind of special. Over here on the Arwasa board, they have 5 minions. I have to do something about them, because if they still have 5 minions at the end of my turn, I will lose. So, my very first attack is going to be against them. I have my body die as normal. I have 2 health dice, and because this is such an important attack and I want to get some of these guys out of here, I'm going to spend 1 experience chip in order to get a spirit die. I then roll the attack, and it's a good roll. So I then start allocating them. I'm going to put 2 points on him. I'll put the 3 points over here. Probably not a whole lot more I can do to kind of maximize things. So I'm going to put the 10 and the 4 and take out that 7. So that allows me to kill the 2-point card, the 7-point card, and the 3-point card. So we have the 2-point, the 7-point, and the 3-point. This is 3 cards, so I turn these in for experience chips. I then look around and I think I really want to get rid of this horror because I don't want him to continue hitting me for insanity losses. So now I perform an action called a hurry. For the hurry, it costs me 2, but allows me to perform a 2nd attack, and I can do this once per turn. So I go ahead and spend my 2 chips, and I'm allowed to do another attack. Now the spirit die that I bought for my first attack goes away. I can't use that again unless if I buy it again. But I still do get these 3 dice. And I'm going to go ahead and roll those, and I'm hoping that I can put together some combination of 2 dice in order to take out that horror. Now, this roll is actually kind of bad. Normally you need to roll a 1 in order to get wounded on your body die, but if you're going against a horror, any die roll equal to the horror's dice combo or lower will actually wound you. This is a 2-die horror, so I get wounded on a roll of 2 or less. So I do suffer a wound here. Now the good point though is that I am able to make a 2-die combo, which is enough to kill the horror in the battle even though I take a wound. I then have this 6 die here, which I can allocate then to the cultist now that the horror is dead, and I can take him out also. So the effect of being wounded is I now lose one of my health dice until I can get it healed. So I won't be rolling this one again for a while. I killed the horror. That gives me 2 experience chips. I also took out this 5 minion, which gives me another experience chip. Now at this point I could use a healing magic in order to heal this lost die. But I'm not going to do that yet because I want to save my chips because it would cost me 3 and I might want to buy something else. One of the things I can do, which I think I want to do, is I'm going to spend 1 experience point in order to use my soldier's rifle ability, which allows me to discard any minion in the game with a value of 2 through 6. So I spend the chip. I am then going to choose to discard the cultist leader. Now keep in mind this is a discard, not a slaying, so I do not get an experience token for him. But it does help me keep the Arwasa cult under control. That's pretty much all I want to do for this turn. So I then check for defeat. There are not 5 minions on a board. I check for victory. I still have cards in my deck. So we proceed on to the next turn. Okay, so this turn we're actually going to draw 5 cards. 4 is normal, plus 1 for Cthulhu's Gate. Here they come. An item, maybe I can buy that one later. We have a minion, another gate for Cthulhu. Our 4th card, ooh, a major horror for Cthulhu. That might start to be a problem. Now here's the card for the Cthulhu Gate. Oh, okay, it's a Shogner Fawn Gate, which means I immediately then have to draw yet another card. So here's my 6th card of the turn, and it's more Cthulhu Shoggoths. Okay, let's go and allocate them to their boards. There's the cultists. This gate stacks on top of the previous gate. Now even though there's 2 gates on Cthulhu, I still only draw 1 additional card every turn, but to make that stop I have to eliminate both of those gates. The major horror comes in sleeping, as all horrors do. We have the Shogner Fawn Gate. We have Shoggoths for Cthulhu. And then we get to the sword, and I have the choice of buying it or not. I'm going to choose not to buy it, which gives me 1 experience token. And that took care of the purchase phase. And now we go to the Awaken Horrors phase. So I scan the boards and I find any horrors which are asleep. Cthulhu has a sleeping major horror which requires 3 minions to wake up. He has 3 minions, so he wakes up. The major horror is now going to do a sanity loss against me. As before, in order to withstand a sanity attack, I either need to get rid of a follower, lose experience chips, or slay my investigator. So what I'm going to choose to do in this case is he's hitting me with a 3-point sanity loss. I'm going to take it to my chips, so I lose 3 experience tokens. I can now do things to counterattack during my combat phase. One of the things that I have here that's kind of interesting is an otherworldly idol. I can slay a follower to discard any horror. Well, I'm about tired of that horror over there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey Ritualist, why don't you go investigate that idol? Ah! So he gets slain, which allows me to discard the horror, and again, because it's a discard, I don't get experience for him. So now I'm going to do my regular combat attack. As you might remember, in a previous battle I was wounded, so now I'm only rolling these 2 dice. I also want to save my existing experience to hopefully heal up later in this turn, because rolling 2 dice is going to probably get me killed eventually. So here's my attack against the Cthulhu board. And I roll 4, not the greatest roll, which is good enough though to slay the cultist, which gets me 1 experience token. And 3 experience is enough to perform a healing magic. So I spend my 3. That returns the die to me, and I can roll full dice. I don't have any other experience to spend, and that ends this turn. For the start of this turn, I'm going to be drawing 6 cards. 4 is normal, plus 1 for the gates on Cthulhu, plus 1 for the gate on Shogner Fawn. Here they are. The first one is a Thief Follower, a Major Horror, an Elder Sign item, a MyGo minion, ooh, an Unspeakable Horror, and finally for the last card, the Necronomicon. Okay, so let's allocate these to the different boards. The Unspeakable comes in sleeping here. The Major comes in sleeping here. The MyGo goes over there. Now I would like to buy some of these, but I don't have any experience, so I need to turn them, at least some of them in, and I plan on spending a lot of experience this turn, so I'm actually going to turn all 3 of them in order to get 3 experience coins. So, that took care of the purchase step. Now I go to the Awaken Horror step. I do have 2 sleeping horrors, but there aren't enough minions on this board to wake them up, so they remain sleeping for now. That means that also I don't have to do any kind of sanity loss, so I can move immediately to my combat step. Attacking Yogg-Sothoth is now a big priority, because if more Yogg-Sothoth minions come in, these guys are going to wake up and that's going to be bad. I want to have as many dice as possible, because not only do I want to take out this minion, but I want to have enough dice left over to attack these 2. So, I'm going to spend all 3 of my experience tokens in order to pick up 3 spirit dice for this roll. Now, the minion protects sleeping horrors, which means that before I can attack these guys, I have to get at least a 9 to take him out. Okay, and here's my roll. Okay, great roll. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this 3 and this 6 in order to slay that minion. I can now attack the sleeping horrors. When you attack a sleeping horror, you have to use a number of dice equal to their strength, but the key thing is that because they're asleep, you don't have to get any kind of combos. You can use any dice you want to. And this Unspeakable Horror, which normally has 4 dice worth of strength, it would normally wound me here because of the die roll of 4, but because he's asleep as normal, I'm only wounded on a 1 on my body die. So, I'm able to get 1 experience point for him, and 4 more for this guy, which gives me a total of 5. So that really helps me. And now, if I want to, I can perform a second attack and by hurrying, and I think I will by attacking the Cthulhu board. To do that, I spend 2 of my chips. That's going to give me my normal 3 dice, and I really want to perform a big attack on Cthulhu, so I'm going to spend all 3 of my experience tokens, make the biggest attack I possibly can. Okay, this is a horrible roll, so I'm going to take this chance to re-roll. I cannot re-roll 1s, but I am going to re-roll this 3 and this 2, and in fact I'm even going to re-roll the 4s, hoping for the best here. Okay, not so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 6, my 3, and my 1 in order to attack that minion. That leaves me with not enough dice to take out the 9. So I do take out the Shoggoth, gives me 1 experience token, and that ends my turn. Thank you very much for watching this series of videos. This game would continue until either a turn ended with 5 minions on one of the cult boards, or until the deck was depleted. Once the Kickstarter is over, we'll be putting this game up for pre-order on our website, www.dvg.com, where you can also order it there. Now, from our website, we cannot offer the Kickstarter exclusives, but you can still order the game. And thank you all very much for your support. This Kickstarter has gone tremendously well, and it's allowed us to put in metal coins and custom dice and mounted boards, and this project has exceeded our wildest dreams, and we have all of you to thank for it. Thank you guys very, very much.